Junkman, VintageRock.com here at NAMM 2014. And with me, next to me, I've got photographer and now author, the lovely Lisa Johnson. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing just great. Thanks for stopping by my booth.
Oh yeah, you came out with this amazing book. Now this is what's known as a seriously coffee table book. It's called 108 Rockstar Guitars. And why don't you tell us a little something about the book, Lisa?
Well, sure. I started this 17 years ago when I was living in Memphis, Tennessee, dating the guitar player at church, and he's also owned a vintage guitar store. And my dad told me never to date musicians. So when I called,
smart guy.
When I called him to confess I'm dating a musician, but he owns a vintage guitar store, that changed things up. And my dad said, well, if he ever gets in a Gibson mandolin, let me know. I've always wanted one. And 2 weeks later, he got in a 1917 Gibson mandolin. So I said, I want to buy that for my dad. How much? He's like, you can't afford it, but if you photograph some guitars for me that I have to sell that I don't want to sell, I'll trade you. So done. Photographed that guitar, and I fell in love with it. I ended up moving to New York with my job, Eastman Kodak. I'm like, I may as well photograph famous guitars. So I went and paid a visit to Les Paul down at the Iridium Room. He let me photograph his guitar, and that was 17 years ago, and I haven't stopped since.
So it all started with Les Paul.
It all started with Les Paul, yeah. He blessed the book. He wrote the foreword for the book just like within 6 months of his passing. And I'm so blessed and honored that he did that, and it, you know, really blessed my book. And,
absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Les Paul being an innovator with all the different kinds of guitars that he got, was there more than one guitar that you were able to photograph, or how many of those guitars that he had? You know, obviously the Les Paul, but he's got so many different variations, being the innovator that he was. How many of them did you actually get to photograph?
One.
Just one?
Just
okay.
one. Just one. You know, Les would always play the same guitar every night at the Iridium Room. His house was loaded with guitars.
Right.
But he'd bring one, or he'd have a backup. But I photographed the Heritage 0001 guitar, and that was his main squeeze at the time. And so that's the one that I got to photograph. Literally on that stool that he sat on for year after year. It was just on that stool was where he left it, and that's where I photographed. I didn't even touch it. I didn't move it. I just photographed it under the lights at the Iridium Room.
The aura of greatness just happening at the whole time, right?
Surely is an aura of greatness, yeah.
Show us a little bit about this book. Open it up a little bit so the people on the camera can actually see it.
Well,
just how impressive this book is.
It's a red leatherette. It's called 108 Rockstar Guitars for a cosmic reason. Everyone does 101 or the 100 greatest. 108 is a cosmic number. Google it, you'll find out why. Or buy the book, and the first page of the book tells you why 108. And then, of course, these are all the different artists that are featured in the book. I have a little introduction that I wrote. And then it rips right into Eric Clapton. And this guitar that was sold Brownie at auction for $450,000 to raise money for his drug rehab in Crossroads in Antigua. He sold 107 guitars in one sitting. Ace Frehley was one of the first guitars I photographed. There's some vellums in there with quotes from the artists. So there's 10 of these vellums in the book. It's just, you know, a real work of art, and there's like Geddy Lee's guitar. It shows the wear and tear details of guitars that you can't see if you don't get close to it. Like, for example, Geddy Lee's got the badass bass tailpiece. Not fans don't really know that.
People don't really get to see that from sitting in the audience.
And this is the guitar that he bought at the time, 35 years ago, at a pawn shop in Kalamazoo, and it's still his #1 bass. So now he's got a signature bass like this. See, I don't think he takes this one out on the road anymore. Alex Lifeson, Rick Nielsen, you've got the old Hamers, you know.
He's got so many of them, too. He changes them every song, too.
The double neck, you know. And then he throws these guitars around. So this guitar, when you look at these pictures close, you can see a big gouge in this
They're all
guitar.
beat up.
Yeah. You know, Ronnie Wood is his L5, which is like the holy grail of Gibson arch tops, and in the back of it, a fan would never know that he's taped this newspaper clipping from the first time he ever played with the Stones, and the newspaper clipping says, Ron Wood left, provided fine support for Keith Richards.
Sparks.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, how cool, and that's sentimental to Ronnie. He has that tape to the back of his guitar that he warms up with before shows.
Kind of like with the Paul McCartney having the set list taped to the top of the Hofner, you know?
Exactly. Dean DeLeo's, you know,
Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah, you got John Petrucci here. Jeff Skunk Baxter, who's got the Ventures guitar pick embedded in the back where the neck is attached. And this is an 18-pound guitar.
It's made out of lucite, right?
That's right. And then it's got the Fender pickups in here, but it's got a Roland body. It's very heavy. And no one would know that the Ventures pick, his favorite band.
That was his favorite band. Wow.
Someone stole the first one. This is an exact duplicate. He had to have a second one made because the first one was stolen, right down to the Ventures pick being put in the back.
Sure, an exact replica.
And then in the back of the book, here's Lemmy.
There's Lemmy's famous Rickenbacker, yeah.
His Ricken bastard, yo.
That's another thing that people normally wouldn't see, you know, standing in the audience and checking it out.
Phil Campbell gave him the original Ricken bastard, you know. And then when you finally get to the back, it's a pretty hefty book. Here's Tom Morello's Arm the Homeless. There's a zine in the back of each of these books, and it's actually the making of this is the making of the book, the inspiration behind 108 Rockstar Guitars. And there's my dad. There's the guy that I photographed guitars for in change for the bandolin.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my dad's here at this show today. So, you know, there's just a little bit of more information in here. And every book comes with a guitar pick. They are collectible. There's 3 different designs that emulate the cover. There's a lotus flower guitar pick. There's a acoustic-inspired guitar pick and a electric-inspired. So when you buy the big book, you get 1 pick. Or if you meet me, maybe you'll be lucky to get all 3 of them, and you got the collector's set.
Think about that.
We tried to make the book fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And collectible. There was only 2,500 of these books made, and they're nearly getting, like Amazon sold out over the holidays. They were back ordered over 800 copies. So it's been selling very, very well.
It's been selling briskly.
Very pleased, and I got to thank Vintage Rock for covering my book and continuously supporting me. I really appreciate it.
We aims to please, you know. Question that I got about it, since there's 108 of them in there, could you pick out maybe 1 or 2 as your favorites, or are they all like, you know, like they say, all God's children are my favorites? But you know, whatever. Do you have 1 or 2 of them, and why?
Well, that's a tough question, and I don't like to play favorites.
No, but I mean,
the Jimmy Page double neck is a very special guitar. You know, I've always been a huge Led Zeppelin fan, and I love the song Stairway to Heaven. We all do. I mean, even Wayne's World are like, no stairway, because it's such a played song. But I never get tired of hearing that song, ever. I never get tired of hearing that song. And when I got to open up the case to that guitar, it was kind of like opening the Holy Grail.
Again, the lights came out, like the cover out, and the angels started singing.
Exactly. And you can smell it. You smell the history. You see the history on the guitar. You see the history in all these images in here. Most of them are very well played guitar. Trevor Boulder's bass is in here, R.I.P., you know, and it's one of the most well grooved and sweated on guitars I've ever seen. Ted Nugent as well. But, you know, the Page shots are exceptional. I really love those images. Roger Waters' bass was one of my favorite shoots. I got to photograph that bass underneath the wall right after he sound checked with it, warm in Athens, Greece. And it's just, I love those pictures. My lighting gear, the plugs didn't work. I was in the UK shooting when I got the word I could go shoot Roger's guitar in Athens. So I took all my gear thinking Europe, you know, the connectors will work. Didn't work, so I ended up having to shoot his guitar underneath the wall with a single light bulb. And the pictures really show like the moodiness, and I just love that, because that's, you know, The Wall is very much a moody album, and so the pictures really personify that. Love it.
Appreciate that. You know, yeah, it's amazing. Man, I gotta say, people can find this on your website. Tell us about the website.
Yes, 108rockstarguitars.com.
That makes sense.
You can find it there. I've actually run out of books, but I'm getting more books in the next few weeks, so I'll be reselling them again on my site. And Amazon.com. They keep selling out, and then they keep getting stocked again. So, yeah, you can get it at Amazon, and then soon it'll be at other retailers as well. I mean, it hit Amazon. Amazon sold so many that we couldn't even get enough books to get them to all the retailers. So I'm very grateful to all the press.
Well, we tried. Is there plans for like a 109 through 215, perhaps?
Yeah, it probably will be called something more like 108 more, but
Or bases, you know?
already underway. Yes, and I got other projects underway as well too. So this is something I've been working on for 17 years, and I've been working on other projects simultaneously that are related. So there's more to come for sure.
Tell us a little bit about what you're looking forward to seeing at NAMM.
Oh, all the manufacturers that their guitars or the pickups or the tremolos that are represented in the book, I'm making my way around to all their booths to make sure I meet the key people, because I want them to know that or see how their instrument or their part of guitar has been, shown in the book, how it's illustrated in the book, and hope that they'll appreciate it and embrace it. It's good to build relationships. A lot of them obviously have relationships with many artists, and it's a beautiful thing to be able to go through those companies to have a specific guitar photographed. So my aim is to really build relationships with the manufacturers of the build guitars. And of course, meet artists too. We've got a lot of artists that have been stopping by the booth, and we're giving away this book at the end of the on Sunday.
Wow.
And it's been signed already by Pearl Thompson, Wayne Kramer.
Yeah, so it's kind of, you can shop around and get the guys to sign that, their particular guitar on there. That's awesome.
Exactly. So it's a fun project. It's really, really fun. And I love music. I don't know what else I could do. I just love the project so much and keep going.
Well, it's an impressive piece of work, Lisa, and I congratulate you on a job well done. And looking forward to seeing some more. This is great. It's Lisa Johnson. The book is 108 Rockstar Guitars, and it's me, Junkman, at NAMM 2014 for VintageRock.com. And thanks for talking to us.
Rock on, man.
All right.